We welcome you to the UNG soccer field at Lynn Cottrell Park on a cloudy Saturday night in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The longest homestand of the regular season ends tonight for the North Georgia men's soccer team as they face off against one of their toughest challenges in the early goings of the 2024 regular season, as the 20th ranked team in the country, Lincoln Memorial, comes to the Gold City. Glad to have you all with us today alongside the rest of the Nighthawk Sports Network team. Robert D. Clementi on hand for you tonight. The Nighthawks have really experienced a roller coaster of emotions through these first 3 games of the season. A game-winning goal on the road, a blowout loss at home, and a tie against a storied rival leaves North Georgia at a 1-1-1 record coming into tonight. And because of that, the implications of this matchup with Lincoln Memorial become even more important. While there's still plenty of soccer to be played this year, picking up another quality win this early on to get to an above 500 win percentage can be such a great momentum and morale boost for the Nighthawks as they head into PBC play. And the Rail Splitters, they're going to present a tough challenge to North Georgia, 2-0-1 on the season, nationally ranked at number 20, highest ranking for the program in 10 years. So the Rail Splitters looking to keep their undefeated 2024 campaign alive, and the Nighthawks looking for a big regular season win against a top 25 ranked opponent. As we are underway here in Dahlonega, time is 5:03 to get this matchup started. Again, glad to have you all with us tonight. Very cloudy Saturday evening, about 77 degrees here in Dahlonega. As the Nighthawks try to start this one out with possession, as we look at tonight's starting lineups presented by Northeast Georgia Health System. Daniel Benedict Mikloshi is going to start in goal for Lincoln Memorial. And on the field, it's Leandro Dos Santos Hasler, Stephen Stone, Tajay Grant, Thomas Chow, Dati Chinchalate, Daniel Cruz, Guillermo Galvao, Enrique Martin, Luca De Pedro, and Joshua Best is going to round out that starting lineup for LMU. And for North Georgia and Coach Lilich, Christian Carlton getting his first start of the season. And then it's Rafael Oliveira Pais, Santiago Cano, Jorge Sandoval, Mikey Jensen, Aram Lara, Miguel Romero, Max Mitchell, Angel Seguro, Owen Wallace, and Alexa Lukic starting in goal for the Nighthawks here in this matchup against Lincoln Memorial. As we mentioned in that opener, LMU nationally ranked for the first time this season, coming in at number 20 in the latest polls. Came out about 5 or 6 days ago. They have since drawn and played a game since then. North Georgia with a good opportunity here as they keep this one low, crossing it into the box, and that's cleared away by LMU and the Rail Splitters. Nighthawks trying to feed Max Mitchell early, the reigning Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week. We'll talk more on Mitchell later, but he has had quite the North Georgia debut in his first 3 games of the season. He has definitely made a name for himself very early on here as a Nighthawk. It's going to be an LMU throw-in over there on the far side near the scoreboard. Here is Cano on the run. Had a defender on him. And LMU is going to get whistled for the foul. Nighthawks are coming off of a thrilling 3-3 draw against rival Young Harris in the Battle of Blood Mountain on Wednesday. And even though that match did end in a tie, North Georgia could walk away from that game with a moral victory for the team. Nighthawks have struggled historically with Young Harris in the past, have really been unable to break through against the Mountain Lions. And Wednesday's game started out about as poorly as it could for the Nighthawks with an own goal in the opening minutes from Owen Wallace, but the Nighthawks did not bow their heads after that, tying the game up with a beautiful Jorge Sandoval goal. And later on in the half, Wallace, the ultimate redemption, found the back of the net to tie that game up at 2-2. Stefan Chongo would give North Georgia the lead 3-2 heading into halftime. Young Harris would respond early in the second half to tie the game up at 3-3. No goal would be scored after that. It was a defensive battle from there on out. But just a few minutes into that second half, like we said, Young Harris tying that game up, and not shortly after, North Georgia starting center back Vukašin Lukovic ejected from the game after receiving his second yellow of the evening. North Georgia will be without him today as well. But with a man down for the rest of that match, the Nighthawks, they really stood strong and defended beautifully against a scrappy Mountain Lions team that threw everything they had at UNG for those final 24 minutes. North Georgia played very conservative in those last 24 minutes. Weren't really looking for the win necessarily, but they definitely battled hard on the defensive end as the shot is collected by North Georgia. Lukic getting another start in goal here for the Nighthawks, and Coach Lilich has got some options for who he wants to see in goal this season. Going with Lukic over the last couple of games. We've seen Hazel Lay this year as well, a veteran on this North Georgia squad. Last year we saw Lay start essentially every game of the 2023 season, and now with some new faces on this North Georgia roster, Coach Lilich has definitely got a few options in his back pocket for who he wants to see in goal. It's going to be an LMU throw-in near midfield. Rail Splitters, coming off of one of their most successful seasons in program history, went 11-5-3 in 2023, most wins for the program since 2016. Team made it all the way to the NCAA Division II Super Regional Tournament. The Rail Splitters are picking up right where they left off last season, 2-0-1 on the season, still undefeated here in 2024. Rail Splitters feel the pressure from North Georgia here as Sandoval applying a bit of early pressure here to Mikloshi. Here is Max Mitchell weaving through a handful of defenders. Going to leave it back for Miguel Romero. Romero has it taken away. LMU trying to respond. Romero a bit too aggressive on the contact, gets whistled for the foul as Stone hit the turf. North Georgia 1-1-1 on the season, like we said in that opener, looking for their first win at home during this regular season. And if you have been paying attention to North Georgia men's soccer, you would know last year they were one of the best teams in the nation at home, went undefeated during the regular season, and they ended up dropping their first regular season game to Converse 1-4 in that matchup with a very quality Valkyries team. And of course tied against Young Harris this past Wednesday 3-3. As Mikloshi sends this one downfield, trying to find an open rail splitter. This is just sent over North Georgia's bench by Mitchell. So the rail splitters will throw in just on the end of North Georgia's bench, and again, just cleared out of there, this time by Christian Carlton. This is Carlton's second appearance of the 2024 season. Saw him in North Georgia's season opener on the road about 2 weeks ago. As this is sent out of play, LMU will again throw it in, this time on the near side. Almost 10 minutes gone here in this first half. Still no score between North Georgia and the 20th ranked team in the nation, Nighthawks find their captain in Adam Lara. Lara, another Nighthawk who has quickly made a name for himself, the reigning Peach Bell Conference Freshman of the Year, a captain on this North Georgia squad in his second season. And most would argue the best player on this North Georgia team was a 2024 Peach Bell Conference preseason all-conference selection. LMU takes it away from North Georgia, working at midfield. That was a nice tap there, back foot tap there by Galval, but nobody home for LMU, and North Georgia will regain possession here. We mentioned LMU coming off of one of their best seasons in quite some time. Could say the same about North Georgia. 9-8-2 last year, made it back to the PBC tournament semifinals for the first time since 2017, as the Nighthawks try to find Kano on that through ball there. Like we mentioned, undefeated at home during the regular season in Dahlonega. Best home record in the NCAA era and program history for this squad. Because of that success, 3 PBC preseason all-conference players on this team. We just mentioned Aram Lara was one, along with Kano, who we just mentioned, and Max Garnett as well. And a great defensive play there made by Owen Wallace, as LMU had a streaking Galval with a lot of real estate in front of him, and Wallace doing a good job of stopping any sort of LMU momentum there. And we mentioned in that opener, North Georgia started out that game against Young Harris about as poorly as you could have asked for from this team. Like we said, that own goal in the opening minutes of that matchup that came from Owen Wallace, and he had the ultimate redemption there. Did not hang his head after that own goal. Ended up scoring later on in that first half, tying the game up at 2-2, and that's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach Lilich from Wallace. You still have faith in him to stay out there, and he delivered for North Georgia a big goal at that one. And the Nighthawks ended up with the 3-2 lead going into the halftime break of that matchup. Nighthawks find Segurero, and a great through ball to Romero, but that's cut off nicely by LMU. Dos Santos Hasler was there. Here is Chow, has pressure on him from Kano, and so it's going to be an LMU throw-in by Stone. Stone will leave the throw-in to Joshua Best. Again, Kano putting the pressure on. LMU again forced back to their goalkeeper, as Segurero just heads this one out of play. Historically, this matchup has favored LMU, the Rail Splitters, 4-1-1 against North Georgia. Not a ton of matchups between these two squads. North Georgia won the inaugural matchup between these two teams back in 2011. Ended up winning that game 2-1. Then the Rail Splitters rallied off 4 wins in a row after that, and then the last matchup between these two teams coming in 2019, back on September 6th. That a double overtime tie between these two teams back here in Dahlonega. It was a 1-1 tie that game ended in. Since then, the rules have changed for the regular season, as we will not go to overtime here. So after 90 minutes, if that game is tied 1-1, and these teams will be walking away with the tie here. No extra minutes will be played. That shot stays on the ground, rolls right to the feet of Lukic. as we're going to have a whistle and a foul going against Stone. Lukic, a sophomore goalkeeper, transfer from Truett McConnell over in Cleveland, Georgia. Started 16 games last season, only allowed 17 goals, had 91 saves, an .843 save percentage, led the Appalachian Athletic Conference in saves, ranked 3rd as well. He was one of the best goalkeepers over there in the AAC. So a big pickup for Coach Lilich in the offseason with Lukic. And he did all that as just a freshman as well. So he's still very young in his collegiate career. Has a lot of time in goal ahead of him. Faced UNG in a scrimmage last season, and Coach Lilich liked his style, brought him over to Dahlonega, and he has been a consistent starter through these first couple of games here for North Georgia to begin this 2024 season. As he just tries to send this one past midfield, doesn't quite get it there. Nighthawks do get it to Aram Lara. He's got pressure on him from behind in Grant. As we are going to have a whistle going against Grant, a little too aggressive on the contact, and will be North Georgia's ball as they're awarded the free kick right near midfield. They'll just give it back to Christian Carlton. This would be a big win here for North Georgia if they're able to come away victorious in this matchup against LMU. We know they're no strangers to picking up wins here at home against ranked opponents. We know infamously last year had that huge win against Clayton State, the 16th ranked team in the nation at the time. Also an in-conference win for North Georgia as well. That was one of their biggest wins, not just of the regular season, but you could argue in quite some time for this North Georgia program. That was really a defining moment of the 2023 season, and I think from there on out, North Georgia knew that they were not going to lose at home. They fought hard for the rest of the regular season, ended up with that undefeated record here at the UNG soccer field, and like we said, here in 2024, it's a bit different. Still looking for that first home win here in 2024, trying to get that against LMU. Mitchell sees a bouncing ball go out of play, so he will throw it in quickly to Segrero. Segrero pushes it back to Carlton. A sweet move there by Jorge Sandoval, but nobody home for North Georgia over there on the right side. Fancy footwork for the product out of Atlanta United. North Georgia without a couple of key players in this matchup, like we mentioned a few minutes ago. Without Vukac and Lukovic after picking up those 2 yellows against Young Harris just a few days ago, and Harris Osman Basic out with an injury as well. So is Brian Benoit. We saw him play against LMU, or against Young Harris, I should say, a couple of days ago. Same thing with Osman Basic, but towards the end of that game, you saw Benoit had a breakaway, had this crowd fired up, and he definitely slowed down a bit as he picked up an injury in his calf. Definitely was cramping up, and he'd definitely slowed down quite a bit after that, and you just wonder what could have been if he didn't start cramping there. And like we said, that had the crowd on their feet. They thought Benoit looked like he had a red carpet right to the goal, and that's definitely playing a factor into today, keeping him out of this matchup against LMU. Here is Carlton. LMU not really putting a ton of pressure on this North Georgia back line in this first half. Lara gives it back to Segrero. And Kano with the defender right on his back, trying to weave through a couple of rail splitters, and this is going to be North Georgia's ball. That was Pais there, and this one's right into the hands of Mikloshi. Good opportunity there from North Georgia. Rail splitters trying to work quickly here, as Mikey Jensen does a good job of stopping any momentum there from LMU. Here is Sandoval. We've seen a lot of pressure put on Sandoval here in these first 20 minutes. Here is Romero, still playing with that cast on his left hand. Has had that since the beginning of the season. Here is Segrero. He had a little bit of space in front of him, trying to get a through ball into Mitchell. That one's off the toes of the PBC Player of the Weekend. Looks to be a bit confused. He thought that that was off a rail splitter, but that one may have just nicked his cleat on the way out, so it is LMU's ball. As the rail splitters try to find Grant there. Had a couple defenders in the vicinity, though, for North Georgia, and Lukic and the Nighthawks on top of that one. Now 20 minutes gone here in this first half, still scoreless between these two squads. Got a great crowd on hand for this Saturday night soccer showdown. North Georgia men's soccer team always bringing out some great crowds here at the UNG soccer field. The rail splitters take the shot right into the chest of Lukic. That's probably been LMU's best opportunity here in these first 20 minutes to try to find the back of the net. But again, a good job in goal by Lukic. The rail splitters are trying to make up for the loss of some scoring this season after one of their biggest contributors in the 2023 season, Daniel Burko, the D2 CCA Southeast Region Men's Soccer Player of the Year. Also earned the SAC Offensive Player of the Year honors and named a first-team All-American. Scored 20 goals last year, the second most amongst all Division II players. But the striking star has since taken his talents up to the Division I level at Syracuse University. Very good Division I men's soccer program, leaving a lot of ground for the rail splitters to make up this season offensively. But even without their superstar striker, LMU has looked solid here through these first three games, especially playing in a very competitive SAC, one of the toughest divisions, one of the toughest conferences in all of Division II men's soccer. Nighthawks tried to find Mitchell there in the box, and that was cut off by Best. Here is Maxwell Mitchell again. Tried to find Sandoval, hooked that one a little too far to the left. Sandoval does end up with it, as we are going to have a whistle and a stoppage of time. This could be a yellow on LMU, and it is. So the clock's going to stop with 22:02 remaining, as Sandoval hit the turf, was dragged from behind there on the play. The rail splitters are going to try to argue their case here. Not going to win this battle, as Dos Santos Hasler will take a step back. So North Georgia's going to have a free kick here in a great spot. We'll see if Sandoval is the one to take it. Romero also over there as well. This is a great opportunity here for North Georgia as they send in the free kick. Ends up at the feet of Aram Lara.
LMU yellow card issued to number 23, Enrique Martin.
And Enrique Martin ends up picking up the yellow for LMU. Nighthawks get it in. Sobrero gives it back to Carlton, gets an open Wallace at midfield. Lara with a little bit of room as Romero falls to the turf. He is a little bit limpy to get up here as the ref has a brief conversation with the rail splitter on the play there. Romero tying his left cleat back up. Like we said, he was a little slow to get up after that one. So North Georgia is going to have another free kick, and you could argue even better position here. And it's Lara and Romero over there as LMU builds the wall. And Lara sends in the free kick. That one curves left just past that top left corner of the goal, and this is going to be LMU's ball. A couple of good opportunities over these last couple minutes, though, for North Georgia to score off of these free kicks. Just haven't been able to come away with anything against LMU and their back line, who has been pretty stellar to start this 2024 season. 2 shutouts in their first 3 games for LMU, and they've only allowed 1 goal so far here in 2024, that coming in their previous matchup against Lee.
Stepping on for the rail splitters, number 26, Colin Clark. Number 19, Giancarlo Cama.
As LMU makes a couple of substitutions, Clark now on the field for the rail splitters, along with Giancarlo Cama. North Georgia gets an opportunity to throw in now in front of LMU's bench. Nighthawks have yet to make a substitution here in these first about 30 minutes or so of action, as LMU had the space to take the shot. Cruz there had a lot of real estate and maybe could have taken a couple steps forward there on that shot to get a little bit closer to the goal. But that one soars well over Lukic. .35 remaining in this first half, still scoreless. And Pais looked like he was going to throw in. He will leave that up to Mikey Jensen. Jensen, a junior midfielder out of Alpharetta. Transfer on this North Georgia squad from Converse. We mentioned North Georgia played in their home opener. Spent 2 seasons with Converse. Started 19 games, and he was a part of the Converse team that won a Conference Carolinas tournament championship back in 2022 and 2023. As Pais, nice touch there, but right to a rail splitter, out of play, and North Georgia will throw in. And Pais, one of the best assist man in Division II soccer. Transfer from Reinhardt University and led the team multiple times in assists during his 4 years over at Reinhardt. Had 21 goals and 22 assists over his 4 seasons over there. Had 7 goals last year. Best on the team, and he was an Appalachian Athletic Conference first-team selection, and like we mentioned, led Reinhardt in assists in 3 straight seasons from 2020 to 2022. Big pickup for Coach Lilich as this is batted out of there by Lukic. Lukic had to leap up there and swat that ball away with his left hand, and this ball rolls out of play for a North Georgia throw-in with Sagrero. Sagrero, another new face on this North Georgia squad. Sophomore from Gainesville, Georgia, transferred from Georgia Southern. As LMU tried to get the ball in play there, it deflects off of the feet of Kano. Didn't even look like Kano was looking at the ball when it hit his feet. As we're going to have a whistle going against LMU. A Nighthawk hit the turf. And as Mikey Jensen gets back up, looks to be okay for the time being. He's definitely a little bit shaken up, though. Trying to walk off something there over there in the far right corner. And it looks like North Georgia is getting ready to get some fresh legs in the game as Stefan Shango makes his way out to midfield over there on the sideline. Here is Cruz trying to find Stone. He's got Max Mitchell on him. And a nice job by Mitchell putting the pressure on and forcing LMU backwards as they get it back to Stone. Sagrero is there, puts the pressure on, and good opportunity here from LMU, just punched out of there by Lukic. And a great defensive stand there from North Georgia, and now they're on the run with Max Mitchell. Mitchell one-on-one here with the rail splitters, tries to split through a couple rail splitters, pushes it back to Lara. Nighthawks get it back to Lara, now back to midfield. And neither one of these goalkeepers really been tested here in this first half. Lukic with 2 saves so far in this first half, and LMU still yet to record a save in this one. Just 4 shots from LMU on the stat sheet compared to none for North Georgia. Half of those LMU shots have been on goal. It's definitely been a defensive battle between these two squads. Like we mentioned, LMU has looked stellar defensively through their first handful of games, and North Georgia has shown flashes, especially in that last game against Young Harris, down a man, down their center back in Lukovic. They really stood strong against Young Harris. Played some stellar defense in that one to come away with a 3-3 tie. Here is Pais, and he finds Mitchell, and that pass just a bit too strong there by Pais. Mitchell had a lot of green in front of him. That would have been a great opportunity for the PBC Player of the Week. As we have a whistle and a foul going against, I believe, North Georgia. Romero a bit too strong on the contact there. So it will be a free kick for LMU. Like we mentioned, the Rail Splitters trying to find some scoring this season after losing, you could argue, one of the best players in program history for LMU. Had a phenomenal season last year, Daniel Burko, who we mentioned a few minutes ago. Burko, like we mentioned, 20 goals last year to lead the team and almost lead all NCAA Division II men's soccer players. The next closest Rail Splitter last year had 4. A couple Rail Splitters last year with 4 goals, so they're trying to make up for that loss of the offensive firepower from last season. And so far this season, they do have 3 players kind of splitting up the goals on this LMU team, with Chow, Galvao, and Skolka all recording a goal here in 2024. Only 3 players to have scored for LMU so far this season. 3 goals is all they need to remain undefeated so far here in 2024. As Lauda, a beautiful through ball into Mitchell. That one scoring over his head, and LMU does a nice job of stopping that momentum there from North Georgia. LMU now trying to respond to the Nighthawks. Try to keep this one on the ground, and this is cleared by Owen Wallace into the chest of Max Mitchell. We mentioned the goal distribution for LMU. North Georgia also done a good job of sharing the wealth between their players on this team, as 5 different Nighthawks have recorded a goal this year. Max Mitchell with 2, and Shango has 2 as well. Jorge Sandoval had a goal against Young Harris back on Wednesday, and Harris Osman Basic with a PK against Converse about a week ago, and Owen Wallace recording his first goal as a Nighthawk against Young Harris back on Wednesday, as the aforementioned Stefan Shango steps onto the field for the first time in this matchup. And both North Georgia men's and women's soccer has really done a good job of that, distributing the goals between the players on this team. We mentioned time and time again during the women's games, 17 different players scored a goal last year for the North Georgia women's soccer team, and that number was relatively close for the men's soccer program as well. There wasn't really one specific player back in 2023 that dominated in the scoring category for North Georgia. Looking back on those 2023 stats, Kano led North Georgia in goals last year with 8, but there were a handful of different Nighthawks to score a goal last year. And a great diving save by Lukic. After that shot there from the Rail Splitters, this is going to be LMU's first corner here of the game with 8:55 to go. Haven't seen a ton of corners to start this game out between these two teams. Looking back at 2023, 11 different Nighthawks scored a goal last year. That's definitely the distribution you want to see. There are so many players that can make you pay, as this is headed out by a Nighthawk. Doesn't matter, though. A whistle going against LMU, and it's going to be North Georgia's ball with 8:19 remaining. And Lukic just going to try to boot this one as far downfield as he can. And that corner, the first in this game between these two squads. As we're going to have a whistle going against LMU. That was Giancarlo Kama, a junior out of Paris, France. So it is going to be North Georgia's ball. Rail Splitters coming into this 2024 season ranked 4th in the preseason conference polls, which is definitely interesting Because when you look at their 2023 resume at face value, finishing the season in the NCAA tournament as the ball stays in the air and bounces into the hands of the Rail Splitters goalkeeper. But when you look at the Rail Splitters 2023 resume, you'd think that that's enough for a top spot start in the conference standings, but the South Atlantic Conference is just so incredibly tough as Shango puts the pressure on here. Easily one of the most competitive in the Southeast region. You could argue all of Division II as Shango has that one taken away. 3 SAC teams currently ranked in the top 25. Wingate at number 5, Coker at number 10, and Lincoln Memorial at number 20. Limestone, also in the SAC, also received votes to be nationally ranked. There are just so many fantastic programs in the SAC that makes it extremely difficult to establish yourself as the best team in that conference. As the Nighthawks make a couple of substitutions late into this first half. As it looks like Will Bentley has stepped on for North Georgia, as well as Samuel Gomez. Gomez, a freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, Discovery High School. Will Bentley, a veteran on this team, junior out of Northwich, England, and Hartford High. Bentley was injured for the first game of the season and made his debut a couple of games ago against Coker. Also had Bentley on the broadcast about a week ago for a North Georgia women's soccer matchup. I'll say he was a natural on the mic for his first game. Provided a lot of great insight, and may see him again very soon on a broadcast. Samuel Gomez, like we'd mentioned, also on the field for North Georgia, as this shot is wide right from LMU. Gomez graduated last year as the number 11 ranked soccer player in Georgia, number 57 nationally, 2024 GACA 7A first team, all-state, all-county, and all-region selections for the freshman. Has a close connection with Coach Lilich as he coached Gomez at the club level, which is part of a reason why he's at UNG. Rail Splitters trying to make something happen here as we're going to have a whistle and a foul going against North Georgia in the box, and the clock will continue to roll here with now 4 minutes remaining in this first half, and LMU is now going to have an opportunity to go up 1-0 in this game against North Georgia. Awarded the PK here on the play. Nighthawks a little too aggressive on the contact. And the PK is saved. A phenomenal save by Lukic, as we're going to have another whistle and a foul. A fantastic play by Lukic in goal to keep this one at 0-0, and he is down on the turf. The clock will stop with 3:23 remaining as Lukic took a shot there as he dove onto the turf. That was a phenomenal play there to keep this game tied. Trainers are not out onto the field as of right now. Lukic helped up by the referee over there in the box. He looks good to go. May just try to walk this one off as Coach Lilich was getting ready to make his way out there. Steps back over to the bench, and great sight to see that Lukic is back up on his feet. So Lukic sends this one downfield. Lukic just got a palm on that one. Doesn't have to do too much on that shot there from LMU. Lukic had to react very quickly on that PK, and just a sensational save to keep this one at 0-0. Especially late into this first half, that's an absolute killer if LMU is able to get one to go past Lukic to make this a 1-0 game heading into halftime. With the way that this game has played out, with this defensive battle between North Georgia and Lincoln Memorial, these goals are hard to come by, and this could be a very low-scoring affair. And this one could end in a 1-0 game or a 2-0 game between these two teams. And so, any opportunity that you get if you're North Georgia or LMU, you need to take it. The shot bounces right into the breadbasket of Lukic. Now under 2 minutes left, as we have another whistle. Sun is starting to peek through a little bit here in Dahlonega through the clouds. Started out as a very cloudy evening here in the Gold City. Had some potential rain forecasted for later today. Lukic trying to find Shango just past midfield. And a great job by Gomez to win that matchup. That ball went right past the head of Shango.
1 minute remaining.
As we are under a minute to go here in this first half. Still scoreless between LMU and North Georgia. See if one of these teams can get one final push here in the first 45. Here is Shango with a good opportunity. Another great look there by Shango. Stays at 0-0. Now with 30 seconds left, Lara will try to make a push. He's got the pressure on him. Tries to find an open Segurero. Segurero takes the shot. That one curls right. Ball stays in play. Sandoval tried to get a piece of it. Ball bounces back to Lara. Now with 10 seconds to go.
9, 8, 7.
Ball bounces around at midfield. LMU just takes one final shot right into the breadbasket of Lukic. And as this first half winds to a close, a defensive battle between LMU and North Georgia ends in a 0-0 tie on the scoreboard here at halftime. A fantastic and gritty defensive battle between these two squads. It's been a great game here between two of the better Division II soccer programs in the Southeast. 45 minutes down, 45 to go. We will step aside for a short commercial break. You're watching North Georgia Soccer on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
All right, show me how you do that again. I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here. At Georgia Heart Institute, our breakthroughs in artificial intelligence could accurately model and predict future heart problems decades in advance, so you can make plans today to be just where you're needed tomorrow.
Oh, I'm here.
The future of heart care. We're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
At the heart of America's gold rush stands a beacon of leadership, tradition, and excellence. A university that has always led the way, forging an environment for broad-based academics, world-class athletics, and tomorrow's military leaders. The University of North Georgia. Learning and leadership, passion and preparation, transformation and tradition. We are the University of North Georgia.
'Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by the Northeast Georgia Health System, the official healthcare partner of UNG Athletics. Bryan Properties, serving all your commercial real estate needs. Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard, escape to the North Georgia mountains for your next weekend getaway. Achasta, golf, community, and tranquility. Coca-Cola, the official sideline provider for North Georgia Athletics.
.45 minutes down, 45 to go in this Division II men's soccer showdown between North Georgia and the 20th ranked team in the country, LMU. Again, glad to have you all with us tonight. Let's take a look at some of those stats from the first 45, and LMU definitely got their shots off in that first half. 9 shots compared to just 1 for North Georgia. Over half of those shots on goal for LMU. The 1 shot from North Georgia was on goal against LMU, and the Rail Splitters have definitely put Lukic to the test here through these first 45 minutes. Had that fantastic save on the PK to keep this game tied going into halftime. LMU also with a corner in this one as well. A yellow for the Rail Splitters, and no reds thrown through the first 45 minutes between these two teams. It's been a defensive battle between LMU and North Georgia. We mentioned LMU during that first half. 2 out of their first 3 games this season have been shutouts. They've only allowed 1 goal through their first 3 games of the season. Again, undefeated so far in 2024 through their first 3 games of the season. North Georgia looking for their first win at home of the regular season, and we mentioned their fantastic defensive stand against Young Harris back on Wednesday, down a man, and they were able to pull through to come away with a 3-3 tie down their starting center back in Vukashin Lukovic, and you could definitely see that gritty defensive work has definitely bled into this game against LMU, and so LMU, they've done a great job kind of on both ends. Even though they're coming away with the 0-0 score heading into halftime, they've gotten their shots off, and they've held North Georgia at bay when it comes to trying to find the back of the net. And so any opportunity that one of these teams can get, they have to take it. Any sort of window that any of these teams can find here in these final 45 minutes, you have to take what you can get if you want to come away with the win. We mentioned during that first half, last game between these two teams ended in a gritty 1-1 tie in double overtime. With the new rules, we do not have any more overtime here during the regular season, and you know, both of these teams want to come away with a win here at the UNG soccer field. Both teams tying in their last 2 matchups with Lee for LMU and North Georgia against Young Harris. Definitely eager and hungry for a win here at the UNG soccer field. We'll see if either team can break through in the second half. A busy day in the Peach Bell Conference when it comes to Division II soccer. USC Aiken taking on Talladega. That game started at 4:30, and of course we're covering North Georgia and Lincoln Memorial here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. And to round out tonight's schedule, Lander taking on Montevallo. A couple games tomorrow. Clayton State taking on Auburn University at Montgomery at 1 p.m. And Georgia Southwestern taking on the University of Alabama in Huntsville. A couple of matchups left for these PBC schools before they head into conference play next week. 45 minutes down, 45 to go in this non-conference matchup between North Georgia and LMU. We'll step aside for another short commercial break. When we come back, it's North Georgia Soccer on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
At the University of North Georgia, education is more than just a degree. That's why we understand student success is based on 4 interconnected pillars: academic achievement, sense of purpose, well-being, and belonging and engagement. Each pillar reinforces the others, forming the strong foundation that helps UNG students succeed during their time here. Academic achievement is what happens when students work hard and succeed in their studies. At UNG, no matter what degree you're pursuing, you'll receive support throughout your academic journey. We're here to assist with securing internships and study abroad opportunities, as well as other helpful resources like tutoring and advising to improve grades and prepare you for your future career. As a student, you develop a sense of purpose by exploring your unique strengths and personal values. This self-discovery happens when you join clubs, volunteer for community outreach, and participate in leadership activities. When you connect your strengths and values with your academic goals, you'll be able to make meaningful choices about your educational and career pathways. Well-being refers to the overall state of being healthy, happy, and prosperous. It's defined through 8 key dimensions: career, environmental, financial, intellectual, mental, physical, social, and spiritual well-being. When students maintain a healthy level of well-being across these areas, they can better manage stress and anxiety while enhancing their resilience and leadership abilities. Our Live Well UNG initiative promotes healthy behaviors and strategies for achieving overall well-being. We also understand the importance of belonging and engagement in fostering student success. This means feeling supported socially and connected to others on campus. From community building events to cohort programs and clubs, our goal is to make sure every student feels connected, valued, and empowered. At the heart of the University of North Georgia lies a commitment to academic excellence. It's about achieving dreams, finding purpose, enriching your well-being, and forging lifelong connections. Wherever you are in your educational journey, we are here to help you every step of the way.
Hey Nighthawks, I am fired up to welcome you to the new chow. You are not going to believe what we're about to show you. Check this out. Welcome to the new chow where you are going to eat like Nigel. What's going on in chow? First of all, better flow through this place. Remember the traffic jams you used to be in? 2, better healthy eating choices and better opportunities for to get the foods that you want. And then what's really cool, on the far side of chow are new study and collaboration spaces where you'll be able to hang out with your friends, study for tests, work on projects. And in the outer part of that area is a room with a projector system where you can do big group events. This place is off the hook and you are going to enjoy it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the heart of the North Georgia Mountains here in Dahlonega at the UNG soccer field. A gritty defensive first half leads to donuts across the scoreboard in this matchup between North Georgia and Lincoln Memorial. Can either team break through in the second half and find the back of the net and come away with the win here in this matchup between the Nighthawks and the Rail Splitters? We'll find out in these final 45 minutes here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Again, glad to have you all with us tonight as we are underway in half number 2. LMU starts with possession and sides have flipped. Now with Miklosi on the right and Lukic on the left. We mentioned during that halftime break that both of these teams are definitely translating the gritty defense they showed in their last matchups. LMU against Lee, that game ending in a 1-1 tie. And, of course, like we mentioned, North Georgia standing strong with 10 men on the field with 24 minutes to go against Young Harris back on Wednesday. Definitely see that gritty defense has come over to this matchup between these two squads. As we have a whistle and a foul going against Lara for the contact, and trying to work quickly here is Shango, who is tripped up from behind, and Sandoval's in the area. Good opportunity here for North Georgia. So now, again, some fancy footwork by the Atlanta United product, and LMU's going to try to argue their case here, but Sandoval's going to have a free kick right off the bat here. North Georgia getting to work, and they catch LMU sleeping, trying to find Pais over there on the right side, and LMU does a good job of taking care of that. LMU was still in the process of arguing their case here with the ref, and North Georgia was ready to go, try to find Pais, and almost caught LMU sleeping. So North Georgia will throw in just underneath the light post over there on the right side. LMU just sends this one back field to a flurry of North Georgia players. As they get this one back to Lukic, who had a great first half. Definitely had his work cut out for him in the first 45 minutes. LMU with 9 shots in that first half, as we are going to have a stoppage of time, a whistle, and a yellow card assessed to North Georgia. And I believe that yellow is going to go against Mikey Jensen on the play. Now both teams picking up a yellow card here in this matchup. And North Georgia has done a good job in this game with keeping the aggression up, but not being too aggressive on the play, especially after the last game with Lukovic. They missed one of their best players for a majority of that second half as Lukic comes almost out to the corner over there on the left side, has to run back into goal. He made his way pretty far out as we're going to have a whistle going against North Georgia as LMU is not happy with that. Ronan O'Mahony slamming the turf after that call. Was not pleased. Maybe he thought that was going to be a yellow going against North Georgia. Would have been a second yellow card for the Nighthawks here. And regardless, this is going to give him a free kick here in a good space for the Rail Splitters. But the clock will continue to roll. And we are going to have a yellow card assessed to North Georgia. It was hard to tell who picked up that yellow there for the Nighthawks. So LMU gets the free kick as this is sent in, deflects off the North Georgia wall, and this ball's going to bounce out of play for a North Georgia throw, and a good defensive stand there from North Georgia. Great hustle there by Shango trying to track down the ball. He has got some of the quickest feet in the Peach Belt Conference. LMU with another opportunity here as this ball deflects off of the foot of a Nighthawk. A couple of Rail Splitters hit the turf.
LMU yellow card is the number 19, Giancarlo Kama.
And that yellow card was assessed to LMU, Giancarlo Kama, for LMU just a minute ago. But North Georgia has not taken their foot off the gas here defensively. They are keeping the pressure on LMU, and it's been a lot of action going on this left side of the field through these first 6 minutes here in the second half. But again, North Georgia's back line doing a good job of containing LMU. As this is sent downfield, trying to find Romero. Ball stays in play as the Rail Splitters were trying to cut off that bouncing ball to Segurero. Segurero trying to work quickly to get it in. LMU trying to orchestrate this back line here as they find Wallace. Now Lara's got a defender behind him, and LMU starting to put the pressure on North Georgia. We'll see how North Georgia responds here with Romero, who is pushed to the turf. You can definitely tell that the refs are letting them play on a little bit here in this second half, especially after that gritty first half. As this ball just changes direction past Sandoval. Pass almost makes it into the box. And the cross stays on the ground, cleared out of there by Carlton. And neither team has really been able to find anything here in their game plan when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, trying to find any opportunity that they can with these free kicks or these corner kicks. In this one, I've only seen one corner between these two teams, that corner going to LMU in that first half. Here is LMU. They find an open Rail Splitter over there on the right side as they send this one in, and that's headed away by a rail splitter. That one may have had a solid opportunity to test Lukic. Had that rail splitter not been there to head the ball out of play. So it is going to be North Georgia's ball. As Lukic just pushes his team back, he's going to try to boot this one as far as he can. Trying to find a leaping Shango at midfield. Rail splitters take over. Rail splitters have a good amount of veteran talent returning from their 2023 squad. Leandro Dos Santos Hasler, Ronan Mahoney, Tajay Grant, all three all-conference selections in 2024, all in different positions too, so the talent is spread out pretty evenly here for this LMU squad. Like we mentioned in the first half, coming off of a fantastic season, 11-5-3, made it to the Super Regional Tournament. And a lot of this credit can be pushed back to head coach Tom Gillette. He, like Coach Lilich for North Georgia, started as an interim head coach, was an assistant coach on a very successful LMU team in 2022 that made the SAC tournament, and they were promoted to head coach on April 7th, 2023, led his squads to one of the best seasons in recent history for LMU. Very similar story for Coach Lilich, like we mentioned. Came in as an interim head coach, taken over for Pat Paris, who had been with this North Georgia program for quite some time. Served as the interim head coach last year, led North Georgia to a fantastic season in 2023 as they try to find Shango here. Ball gets back to Sandoval, now to Pais. They try to find Sandoval again as we have a whistle and a foul going against, I believe, North Georgia. Yeah, both of these coaches started as interim head coaches, have had those tags since removed, and coming off of great seasons last year, talking about Coach Lilich, he led North Georgia to the most wins in the last 6 years for the program. Their third winning season since 2011. Had a 4-game winning streak last year down the stretch. First time the Nighthawks made the semifinals in the PBC tournament since 2017. Nice chance here for North Georgia to get on the board, and this shot from Pais soars over the net and over the net behind the one on the field. That ball makes its way down to Bob Stein Stadium. About 10 minutes gone in this first half, still scoreless between North Georgia and the 20th ranked team in the nation, Lincoln Memorial. And again, another gritty stand, this time by LMU, as we're going to have a whistle and a yellow issued to Christian Carlton on the play. Clock will stop as the rail splitters had a streaking player, and Carlton, all he could do there was trip him up from behind, because the only thing standing in between that rail splitter and Lukic was just a bunch of open greenery, and that stops the clock. And almost you could argue a bit of a smart play from Carlton just to stop the clock and stop any momentum there from LMU, but at the same time give the rail splitters a good opportunity here to make something happen. This free kick is a little bit farther out though than they probably would have liked. That's all Carlton really could have done in that situation. So the clock stopped with 33:49 to go. And the free kick is sent in. Ball's still bouncing around and cleared away at midfield. Sandoval's in the area, tries to cut off that pass from Mikloshi. Ball eventually ends back up in LMU's hands. Carlton doing a nice job to flex that one out of there with his knee. LMU trying to make something happen, and they do. The Rail Splitters break through first in this matchup to go up 1-0 against North Georgia. And over 55 minutes into this game, the Rail Splitters find first blood, and they put the Nighthawks in a 1-0 hole. Had some nice passes in the box, and the Rail Splitters come up on the winning end of that one. That goal stayed on the ground the entire time past Lukic. So now the Nighthawks have work to do with 33:05 remaining in this matchup. Now find themselves with their backs up against the wall against LMU. We know North Georgia, like we said in that first half, when they're faced with adversity against these ranked opponents, they are not going to back down, and we saw them do that last year against Clayton State, went down against the 16th ranked team in the nation, ended up coming back to win that game 2-1, and they've got some work to do here. Down but never out is this North Georgia squad.
LMU goal scored by number 16, David McDougall, assist with number 20, Baton Skoka.
And David McDougall credited with the goal that puts LMU up 1-0. And like we mentioned in that opener, this is a big matchup for both of these squads. Haven't faced each other in 5 years. First time that these two head coaches have seen one another. And, LMU has dominated historically but against North Georgia. Nighthawks looking for their first win against LMU since 2011. And, both of these teams coming off of a tie, looking to get back into the win column. LMU trying to prove why they're a top 20 team in the country, trying to move up even further, especially after tying against Lee. They don't want to move down in the standings anymore. And North Georgia trying to pick up a quality win against a quality opponent in LMU early in this 2024 season, especially before heading into PBC play. It's crucial to pick up these types of wins with these out-of-conference opponents. And if you can have a strong showing against LMU, top 25 team in the nation, heading into PBC play, it's a great morale boost for this North Georgia team. Like we said, they've got some work to do here, now with 31:20 to go. LMU gets it in. As they find an open De Pedro, who skies it high right into the hands of Lukic. Lukic trying to work quickly, throws it right back to De Pedro. Trying to find Sandoval on the throw. As Pais is tripped up from behind, and the clock will stop as the captain for this North Georgia team, Aram Laro, is down for a moment as it looks like he's going to step off the field. So Lara will step off. Quinn Thompson will step on for North Georgia, as he is waiting over there at midfield. Looks like LMU's going to make a substitution too, and Lara is not a player that this North Georgia team can afford to lose, especially in this matchup. Down a goal, you want to try to find your superstar sophomore. So the clock resumes with 30:45 to go. We saw Quinn Thompson start earlier this season, a senior from Young Harris. Transfers from the former PBC rival against North Georgia. And even though Thompson, and this is his first year with the Nighthawks, he has seen this team and has, been to Dahlonega a handful of times, went 6-0 against North Georgia while he was with the Mountain Lions. Had 21 assists in 4 years at Young Harris in 2021. Had the 9th most in NCAA Division II. All region and all conference first team selections during that season. So Coach Lilich, at least compared to years past, has definitely had a bit of a deeper bench here for his 2024 roster. So if you're going to bring Lara off the field as he's being looked at by the trainers, Thompson is exactly the guy that you want to see off your bench if you're Coach Lilich. As we have another whistle, going to result in a free kick here for North Georgia in a good position over there on the left side of the field near the light post. Lights have come on here in Dahlonega. May not see it go completely dark here in this matchup as the sun does begin to set. We approach 6:25. So 29 minutes to go. North Georgia's going to send in the free kick. It'll be Romero who sends it in. That's headed out of there by LMU. And this is going to be North Georgia's first corner kick of the game. And these are the opportunities that we talked about in that first half that you have to capitalize on if you're North Georgia. Haven't really been able to get anything going offensively. And you can get an opportunity like this to send a corner in, try to find the back of the net. You're going to take what you can get here if you're North Georgia, as it looks like Sandoval is going to send it in, and he does. And again, another good defensive stand there by LMU. Ball stays alive for the moment, cleared by the Rail Splitters. Thompson trying to find Sandoval, headed out of there by a Rail Splitter, and it'll be Sandoval to throw in. And you got to think that if somebody's going to tie this game up, it's going to be Sandoval. Tied the game up at 1-1 against Young Harris back on Wednesday. We'll try to do so here against a top 25 ranked opponent. As this ball is just collected by LMU and Mikloshi. That was a close call there for LMU on that play, as Mikloshi just rolls this one, keeps it in the box. Best opportunity North Georgia's had here in this second half. Thompson throws it into Wallace. Pushes it back to Carlton and his pink cleats over there at midfield. Some sweet-looking cleats from the veteran on this North Georgia squad. Sends it out of play, so it'll be LMU's ball. Over these last handful of minutes, it's definitely been North Georgia dominating on this right side of the field. Haven't seen Lukic tested very much in these last 5 minutes or so. As Thompson tried to find a cutting Shango, didn't commit to the cut, and it will be LMU's ball. And Mikloshi and this LMU back line all season done a stellar job at limiting opponents offensively. 2 shutouts through their first 3 games. Second best save percentage in the SAC for Mikloshi. So goals are hard to come by against this gritty LMU team as Carlton heads this one out of play. And in these final 25 minutes, North Georgia, you got to think that Sandoval or Shango or Mitchell is going to get involved somehow offensively here for North Georgia. Could argue 3 of the best offensive players on the field for North Georgia at the moment, especially with Lara on the sideline for the time being. If he's unable to come back into this game, North Georgia's got to find another way to step up here. Looks like Kano is getting ready to check back into the game for North Georgia. Nighthawks may make a couple of substitutions. And if the Nighthawks are looking to find the back of the net, Kano is definitely the player to do that. Led the team in goals last season, 2024 PBC preseason all-conference selection. Those 8 goals for him as well. Not only led the team, but ranked 4th in the Peach Belt Conference. So they're going to try to get him going here once he checks back into this game. Looks like LMU is going to make another substitution for themselves. The free kick is sent in, and a leaping catch there by Mikloshi. Definitely, Mikloshi has been tested more in the second half compared to the first. North Georgia was only able to get 1 shot off on LMU in the first 45 minutes. Have had a couple through the first 20 minutes here in this second half. LMU with 12 shots so far in this one compared to 3 for North Georgia. Half of those LMU shots have been on goal as well. As we're going to have a stoppage of time here as a yellow card is going to be assessed to, it looks like, LMU's bench. As the ref made his way out to the coaching staff for LMU, and may have been an assistant coach over there on the sideline. It's hard to tell who exactly may have been chirping with the ref over there. But nevertheless, LMU takes over, as they've got a good opportunity here to try to make something happen. This ball is rocketed out of play, as we will make way for some substitutions to step onto the field. Nighthawks going to make 3 substitutions. So the subs will come on. Shango will come off along with Romero and Jensen. So Kano will step on for North Georgia. And Aram Lara back on the field for North Georgia. Great sight to see. And Samuel Gomez also back on the field for North Georgia. So Wallace gives it off to Thompson. That ball deflected off a rail splitter, out of play. So Thompson will throw in. De Pedro there on the play. Thompson tries to find Kano. And it looks like Kano may have taken a shot to the face when he went down. Ended up having to step off the field. He's got a headband on now. And a good job by Kano just to send this one out of play. Sends it over the fence. And with the combination of Sandoval and Kano on the field now for North Georgia, definitely think that they've got to come away with something pretty quickly here as we approach 20 minutes to go. Now 21-25 remaining in this game. As we're going to have an offsides called here on LMU. It'll be North Georgia's ball. LMU is definitely taking their foot off the gas just a little bit here in these last few minutes. Playing a little bit more conservatively here with North Georgia. A nice job by Quinn Thompson to win that battle to give North Georgia the ball. Ball's headed out of play. Segreiro will throw in. Here is Kana weaving in and out of a couple defenders. Leaves it back for Segreiro. And again, this ball is just headed into North Georgia's bench. Thompson with some real estate. This ball is just going to bounce to the feet of Closhi. As Kana will try to put a little bit of pressure on. A couple of weeks ago, Coach Lilich sat down with UNG Athletics Director of Communications, Brendan Shabath, on the Hawks Nest, and they talked about his journey through last season as the interim head coach to having that tag removed, discussing what's to come next for this season for North Georgia. And one of the points that he made sure to get across the most is that him and the team this season are taking everything day by day or game by game to make sure everybody has a clear picture of what is to expect and what's to come this season, as we have another yellow card assessed as this ball is sent downfield. And McCloskey in goal picks up the yellow for LMU. And you can really see that day by day or game by game mentality come to fruition last year. Even though the team started to see some more success, they really never got too ahead of themselves. As another great save by Lukic, who comes up with that one, and we're going to have another whistle in the box here for, it's going against North Georgia. And this is going to give LMU another opportunity here to find the back of the net. Clock's going to continue to roll, and it will stop now as we get the X from the referee near North Georgia's net. And you can see Thompson and Carlton over there to make sure that he's all right. It was hard to tell who hit the turf there for LMU, as he is still down. Trainers have not come out yet for either squad. With 18:40 to go, LMU is going to have an opportunity here to add a bit more cushion to their lead, as the trainer will come on for Lincoln Memorial. This is definitely a momentum killer here for North Georgia. Their second penalty in the box going against them in this game, and great to see the rail splitter back up on his feet. That is Lucas De Pedro, who makes his way off of the field over to the left of the net here next to Lukic. So he will make his way off the field, and LMU is going to have another opportunity here to put a goal up on the board. Lukic had a fantastic save on a PK in the first half. We'll see what he can do here in the second. And the PK is in the back of the net for LMU. A 2-0 cushion for the Rail Splitters as Ronan O'Mahony puts it in for LMU. The junior from Marabella, Spain, gives LMU the 2-0 lead against North Georgia, and that is just an absolute killer if you're Coach Lilich and the Nighthawks. You know, a couple of opportunities here for LMU in this game, and they have taken advantage of it. A couple of penalties in the box. That's not what you want to see if you're Coach Lilich, and LMU, with 18:35 remaining, comes one step closer to a victory here at the UNG soccer field.
LMU goal scored by number 8, Ronan O'Mahony Blondell.
Here is Thompson, gives it back to Wallace. You can see that Thompson was trying to get Wallace to maybe push that back to Carlton. It was open on the play, but it is going to be a UNG throw-in. Got even more work to do here. Have to score a goal every 9 minutes to tie this game up at 2-2. So it'll be a throw-in here for Lincoln Memorial on the near side, near the fans here at the UNG soccer field, like we mentioned in that first half. The fans come out in bunches here at Link Control Park and the UNG soccer field, home to some of the biggest crowds of the season that you'll see for all of North Georgia sports, and especially those nighttime games. This one in particular. Lincoln Memorial, another opportunity here as Lukic dives on the floor. That ball went straight into his chest, deflects out of play, and you can see him communicating here with the referee, trying to argue his case. Carlton trying to calm him down, pushes him back to the goal, and Lukic still trying to make a case here with the ref. So this is going to result in a quarter for LMU. Or it is going to be North Georgia's ball. LMU was set up there like it was going to be a corner for them. Here is Thompson. He's got some room to work with. Gives it off to Kano. Kano, two defenders on him. Ball rolls out of play. Thompson will quickly try to throw it in. Gives it back to Kano. And Kano just has so much attention on him. You can see him frustrated out there. Every time he gets a touch on the ball, he's just swarmed by multiple defenders from LMU. And as one of the best scorers in the Peach Belt Conference, that's going to happen. Going to have a lot of attention on you as Lincoln Memorial gets the ball in the box, keeps it on the ground. Ball deflects off of a Nighthawk. Something still alive here for LMU as they take the shot and Lara clears it. Ball gets back into the possession of Stone. Stone will try to cross it in. Trying to find an open rail splitter. Missed the shot as Lara is tripped up from behind. Again, here is Thompson, a little too strong on the pass. Ends up back at the feet of Gomez. North Georgia trying to find any signs of life here offensively. Under 15 to go in this game. They got to make something happen quick. But again, the stout back line for LMU has only allowed one goal all season. Has kept North Georgia at bay. A couple of Nighthawks are going to step on here in just a moment. Looks like DJ Shin getting ready to check into the game for the first time for North Georgia. Here is Kano, nice touch there. And Quinn Thompson tries to send one in, and that's into the hands of Mikloshi. Thompson had a great look there over on the right side, tried to curl it in. Didn't have enough height on that one as Mikloshi was able to get on that one. He didn't have to jump too far off the ground to make that save. But that's what you want to see here if you're Coach Lilich with these opportunities. Any sort of real estate that you can find, you have to take it. And Thompson had a lot of room to take the shot. Took it from a little bit far out, but was close to making this a 2-1 game. Carlton leaves it for Lara. Has pressure from behind, gets it to Thompson. Again over here on the near side. Thompson leaves it for Gomez. Gomez back to Thompson. Here is Sandoval on the right side, trying to work past a couple defenders. Again, with the fancy footwork, some of the best that you'll see on this North Georgia squad. Finds an open Romero on the left side. Couple of header attempts there. Takes the ball out of the box for North Georgia. Like we mentioned, even when LMU had that 1-0 lead, they took their foot off the gas a little bit offensively, and especially with this 2-0 lead, you can tell that they are not being aggressive as they were, especially in those first 45 minutes. And Carlton with a great play there to stop that momentum from LMU. Player hits the turf, no whistle, and a couple of fresh legs are going to check in here for North Georgia. Like we mentioned, DJ Shin now in the game for the Nighthawks. And Mikey Jensen back on the turf for North Georgia. And we talked about Shin briefly in that first game for North Georgia here at home against Converse. Shin has traveled over 7,000 miles from Seoul, South Korea to come to UNG. Spent his first 2 collegiate seasons at Bryan College, netted 4 goals and 5 assists last season. That just goes to show the pull that Coach Lilich has here with the men's soccer program. Finding talent all over. Shin coming from 7,000 miles away in Seoul, South Korea. And we mentioned Max Mitchell in North Georgia's previous game. Transferred from Georgia State. Was on their club team last year. Nighthawks will take the free kick as Lara sends it in. It's headed out of there by a rail splitter. As Thompson tries to find Wallace on the play. Tyler Vitelli has also stepped on here for North Georgia. Another veteran on this Nighthawk squad. Junior forward out of Powder Springs, Georgia, and Harrison High School. And Vitelli really took a leap from year 1 to year 2, scored 4 goals last season. Was one of just 2 players on this roster to play in every game in 2023. So a very familiar face Vitelli is if you have been a fan of North Georgia soccer in the recent years. As we're going to have a whistle going against LMU, and LMU does have some players waiting on the sideline to check into the game. And now that we are under 15 minutes remaining in this matchup, if LMU does want to make these subs, then the clock will stop. They decided to make that change in NCAA Division II this year. The leading team with under 15 minutes to go, or if the game is tied, the clock will stop for any substitutions. The teams in the past could have used that to their advantage, making a substitution late. Let some clock bleed down, especially in those final 10 minutes of the game. It wasn't until 5 minutes remaining that the clock would stop if the leading team wanted to make some substitutions. So it will be North Georgia's ball near that far right corner. Can barely see Thompson over there. Just cut off by the gate as he throws it in. Here is Laura, gives it back to Thompson. Thompson's going to try to cross this one in again and keeps it on the ground right to the feet of a rail splitter. And Gomez keeps it in play. And Laura will try to take the shot. This one curves to the left, and we are going to have a whistle going against LMU. A Nighthawk is down on the turf in the box, and North Georgia's going to have a chance to put a goal up on the board here. That was Owen Wallace who hit the turf. And the Rail Splitters trying to argue their case here. Clock is going to stop with 7:55 to go. And so now North Georgia is going to have a chance to steal one back here from LMU. And it'll be Santiago Cano on the PK. And it looks like a card may have been assessed as well. LMU chirping here with the ref, and you can see him pointing to the bench, sending him off, and I believe that was their captain, Dos Santos Hasler, who picks up the card, and he's going to make his way off the field. So there's 8:19 remaining in this game. LMU is now down a player for the remainder of this contest, and North Georgia has an opportunity to make this a 2-1 game. So just like that, the momentum shifting over to North Georgia's side, and the Nighthawks can really make something happen here. Anything can happen with 8:19 to go. And you got one of the best scorers in the Peach Belt Conference up for the PK. We saw last year kind of a similar situation against Clayton State where North Georgia was down. Cano stepped up for a PK. That goal was to give North Georgia the lead against the 16th ranked team in the nation, Clayton State. But we know Cano is no stranger to pressure. And Mikloshi has been excellent so far in this game. We'll see if he can step up once more here in a huge spot against LMU, or against North Georgia. Still waiting on that PK from Cano as Dos Santos Hasler is going to have to make his way to the bus, the LMU bus. So it'll be Cano against Mikloshi. Clock will now roll with 8 minutes to go. As Cano lines it up and he puts it in! Santiago Cano gets it to go! It's a 2-1 ball game here at the UNG soccer field as one of the best players in the Peach Belt Conference steps up once again for North Georgia. And that was just a sweet-looking shot there from Cano. Nobody does it better than the 2024 PBC preseason all-conference member. Nighthawks are going to make some substitutions as well. Trying to bring on some more offensive firepower. And it's anybody's ball game here at the UNG soccer field. Still plenty of time to go with 8:19 remaining. And the Nighthawks steal one back.
Nighthawk goal scored by number 9, Santiago Cano.
Like we said, down but never out is North Georgia. Picking up the pace here. Now under 8 minutes to go. LMU making a flurry of substitutions. Like we mentioned, Shango also stepping back on the field for North Georgia. And this is it with 7.5 minutes to go. North Georgia playing 11 on 10 now for the rest of this matchup against LMU. We'll try to make something happen. That's also a big loss for Lincoln Memorial, losing one of your captains sitting on the bus for the rest of this game. And you may see something similar from LMU that what we saw from North Georgia in their game against Young Harris, where North Georgia was really just looking to get out of that game tied 3-3 up on the scoreboard. Didn't take a shot for the rest of the game after they were down a man in Lukovic. But their defense held strong, only held Young Harris to 2 more shots in that one. We'll see if Lincoln Memorial can kind of do the same. But Shango with a great opportunity here, weaving in and out of a few defenders, hits the turf, no call. A player is down for Lincoln Memorial in the box as the clock will stop. And boy, the aggression in this game has just turned up to 110% in these final 10 minutes. The trainer will come on for Lincoln Memorial. That was also a close call from the Rail Splitters as Shango had hit the turf. Could have been another PK opportunity for North Georgia to tie the game up at 2-2. Man, the intensity in this game is just, the sliders are all the way up here in this one. So the trainer's now out on the field. Players are going to have a chance to catch a quick water break here, catch their breath with 6:34 to go. So this gives the players an opportunity to take a rest here and kind of go over what they need to do next. Like we said, North Georgia has all the momentum on their side here with almost 6.5 minutes to go. With the advantage, now 11-10 on the field. With LMU down one of their captains as the injured Rail Splitter is up, makes his way off the field. So 6:34 to go. It's going to be a free kick here for LMU. Clock will restart. Nighthawks with a lot of offensive firepower out there between Shango and Kano. Thompson had a great look earlier. He's got a lot of real estate to work with. Now Laura will try to send it in, and ball's in the air into the breadbasket of Mikloshi, who just falls on top of that ball. He's going to try to bleed a little bit of clock here. Tells his team to push it back. He's just going to boot this one downfield. As Wallace pushes it back to the right side. And for the first time in quite a while, we've seen some action over here on the left side. Here is Grant. Has the pressure on, swarmed by a couple Nighthawk defenders. Thompson tries to take it away. Ball rolls out of play, and it is North Georgia's ball. Thompson's going to try to get it in quickly. Just tosses it back to Laura. Over there on the left side is Romero. Gives it back to an open Laura at midfield. Now with 5 minutes to go, trying to find Vitelli. Back to Jensen. And LMU not putting a lot of pressure on North Georgia here. With the advantage there, just trying to bleed as much clock as they can. North Georgia has to put the pressure on LMU here as they send this one in, trying to find Shango, and Kano was in the area as well. This ball soars into the air as Shinj tries to head it back to a couple Nighthawks in the area. Ball skies high over North Georgia's bench as they're going to try to throw in here. A couple of fresh legs on the field for North Georgia as Max Mitchell, the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week, steps back onto the field along with Christian Carlton. Nighthawks tried to find Carlton as soon as he came into the game. We'll see that a lot on these throw-ins into the box or on these corners for North Georgia, they try to target Carlton. Standing tall out there for North Georgia, one of the tallest players on this North Georgia team. We've seen him finish a lot of those plays where he's on the winning end of a header into the back of the net. Ball rolls out of play, and Thompson will throw in. If you're North Georgia, maybe look for Sandoval in this one too, with now under 3.5 minutes to go. As Romero tries to find Shango, and a rail splitter hits the turf. Again, trying to plead his case, but it is going to be LMU's ball. Now with about 3 minutes to go. And again, objective number one here for LMU is to just bleed this clock. As Mikloshi sends it downfield. Here is Laura. Also one of the best assist man in the Peach Belt Conference. Finds Romero. Romero pushes it back to Shin. Now Shin sends it in. You can tell they're trying to find Shango here. Ball still rolling around in the box. Here is Sandoval, and a fantastic diving save by Mikloshi. My goodness, Sandoval had a great look there, tried to sneak it in the bottom right corner of the net. And one of the best saves of the evening comes from Mikloshi. We could have been looking at a 2-2 ball game here with 2 minutes to go. And even though Sandoval wasn't able to come away with that one, that's still a good momentum boost here in this one. Gets his morales up, and I doubt that's going to be the last time in these final 2 minutes that Sandoval gets a touch. So LMU is going to throw in front of their bench. Clock will stop with 1:37 remaining. Didn't look like LMU was going to make a substitution. It looked like it was just going to be a throw-in in front of their bench. Like we said, objective number one is to just bleed some clock, as we have another yellow card assessed to LMU. Another one going to LMU's bench. And a red card going against Lincoln Memorial. The second yellow end. And it looks like the same coach for LMU who has been chirping with the ref for a large part of this second half is thrown out of the game. You could definitely see some frustration bleeding through for Lincoln Memorial. Now a player and a coach ejected from this game. Man, that is a killer if you are Lincoln Memorial. And so LMU will have the throw-in front of their bench. Clock is stopped with 1:37 to go. You can see LMU's coach still over there on the sideline. As they throw this one in, now 1:30 to go. North Georgia, can they capitalize on this momentum? Seen a couple of people from LMU ejected from this game, trying to find a streaking Carlton. Was coming over from the right to the left, as we are now at 1 minute remaining.
1 minute remaining in the contest.
Nighthawks trying to make one final push. LMU is just going to try to keep this ball away from North Georgia. LMU with another opportunity here, and Thompson takes it away. A good defensive stand there from North Georgia to take that ball away. Grant almost had a piece of it. Ball pushed past midfield. Here is Shango. makes a run up on the ball. And that's cleared by Mikloshi. Now 30 seconds to go. Ball rolls out of play. North Georgia's got to get this one in quickly. Thompson does throw it in. Couple of Nighthawks in the area. Ball bounces around back away from the box. Ends up back at the feet of Lara. Lara will try to send it in. Here is Sandoval trying to get one final touch, and LMU clears it. Nighthawks could make one final push, and here is Carlton. Oh my goodness gracious, this game ends a thrilling 2-1 win for Lincoln Memorial. My goodness, the Nighthawks had a chance to tie this game up at 2-2. And LMU fired up after that one. Almost ended in a 2-2 tie for North Georgia and Lincoln Memorial, but the 20th ranked team in the nation stands strong. So the Rail Splitters go on the road to take down the Nighthawks, keeping their undefeated 2024 season alive, and hand the Nighthawks their second home loss of the season as both squads head into PBC play and SAC play next week. And a thrilling finish to this one ends in a 2-1 victory for Lincoln Memorial. Both of these teams now head into conference play. North Georgia still looking for their first home win of the regular season, and LMU keeping their undefeated season alive here in 2024. A thrilling finish to this one between the Nighthawks and the Rail Splitters. North Georgia men's soccer will hit the road to take on Lander for their next match this Wednesday at 7:30 in Greenwood, South Carolina. But we'll be back with you tomorrow at 4 p.m. as North Georgia women's soccer takes on one of their biggest regular season matchups of the season in Florida Tech. On behalf of the rest of the Nighthawk Sports Network team, this is Robert D. Clementi saying so long and thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night, and we will see you tomorrow at 4.